Hello, and welcome to another episode of Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. This is episode 8, and we're recording this on the 1st of July, 2015. I'm Antony Chesson, and joining me, as always, is my co-op couch buddy, the Ryu to my Ken. It's Mr. Darren Whitten. Hello, Darren.
You get... How's it going?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's swelteringly hot.
Oh, man, I'm absolutely roasting. Though I did spend a portion of the afternoon sort of paddling around on the beach, so that was okay. It's kind of cooled me down somewhat.
Nice. But how's the rest of your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right. What have I done this week? By the way, nice of you to say I was Ryu. Ryu is always the character that I play on Street Fighter, just incidentally. So is Ken your character of choice?
Well, yeah, he's got the locks, he's got the hair that I always wanted.
He's also got the furthest reach on the Dragon Punch, which I never realised. He can hit like 3 or 4 times on the Dragon Punch, and Ryu can't.
It says that on my CV,
What? Well,
I've got the longest Dragon Punch.
If you want someone that's going to sew up a project, I've got the furthest reaching Dragon Punch you're ever going to see.
Absolutely. If you want any of your people Dragon Punched, I'm your man.
Hire me that guy right away. I want Chesson.
I can kick a car as well. Anyway, so how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been all right. What am I doing? My little technical dabblings have brought Periscope under my microscope this week. So I've been having a bit of a go on Periscope, so I'm quite new to it. I thought it was a bit weird at first, because I was like, it shows your location, and isn't this really dodgy or something? But I just thought I'd try and get down with the kids, because it seems to be for the kids have probably been doing it for ages, but to me it's quite new. It seems a bit up and coming, so I thought I'd have a go, and it's linked to Twitter and stuff. So as part of my embracing of social media, I thought I'd give Periscope a go. So I've been watching a few people around the world and doing a few little Periscopes of my own.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You've used it, haven't you?
I haven't. No. I've watched Major Nelson drive to work. I was bored one day on the way home, and I watched Major Nelson drive to work answering questions, which I thought was very bizarre. But no, I haven't used it yet. I always kind of think I will. I was going to do it when I was unboxing something. But yeah, no, it looks really cool. Did you have anyone watching you?
Yeah, the first time I used it, I got 20 odd people watching me. Now, what was I doing when I did that? I just filmed out of the window at the beach. And I got inundated with people watching, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, whereabouts are you? Nice weather, isn't it?" It's all boring stuff, really.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, surprisingly, I got "love your accent" quite a few times, which I'm not used to being a northerner. I was quite surprised. I was like, you are aware that this isn't a refined northern accent, southern accent. It's not proper English, but they seem to like it. The guys from the States and stuff. Got myself a few followers. I think I've got 8 followers on there. So I sort of got the bug a little bit. So I did a few. I thought, yeah, it might be interesting to watch the beach, because before I broadcasted myself, I watched a few people round and about. I got a couple of girls in a bar in either Miami or Fort Lauderdale.
Hold up a second. How's this going to end?
Not well. No, it's fine. And they were just sat there in the bar, and I think it'd be quite a cool thing to do with your mate if you're bored of talking to each other, which maybe they were. It's like, yeah, let's just broadcast ourselves and see what people say to us. So they were there. There was the one that was broadcasting it. Her mate just looked so drunk, it was unbelievable. So I was just there, and I went, hello. And there's loads of people watching, and I thought, well, what can we do here? So I noticed she had a drink, and I just went, down your drink in one. And she did. I just thought it was funny.
Wow.
So she went, what, down my drink? I went, yeah. She went, what, me or my mate? I went, you. And then she just went, glug, 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 and chugged it down. And then later on, I wondered if there would have been any repercussions from her acquiescing to my demand. You never know. The night might have taken a downhill turn from that, or an uphill struggle. You never know. So, I sort of got inspired by that. Then there were a few people broadcasting from Hawaii, Honolulu. And I saw a guy driving to work. He was just driving to work in Hawaii and Honolulu with some really cool song playing. And it was bright sunshine. And I just thought, I've never seen this, and I'm probably never likely to. So this is as close as I can get. And there was some car road trip crossing over, like, the Keys. And they just had the camera out of the window, and they had good tunes on. And I was like, this is amazing. This is like a virtual road trip. Each of these were just like 5 or 10 minute segments, but they just sort of take you away to that place. For that instance, and I just thought it was kind of kind of grabbed me. And I think that's what it's about. It's not about, tuning in for an hour-long haul or anything. It's a quick snippet, isn't it? You sort of, it's periscope up, have a peep about, see what's going on, and then go. So, yeah, I filmed a few things out of the window at the beach. And then this morning I broadcasted myself walking along the beach, and I found a jellyfish, and so a really massive one. It was about 0.5 metre in diameter.
Wow.
And I sort of just filmed that, but the 3G signal was dire, so I don't think it really worked well. So, yeah, I've been dabbling in Periscope and obviously playing a few games, but we'll get to that. What about you? How's your week been?
Yeah, my week was really good, actually. Just before the weekend on Friday, I went to Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Excellent.
So that's like it's a highlight on my calendar. I go I've been, I think, the last 5 years I've been going to Goodwood, and I just love it. It's just such great fun. And it was really good because what I like to do is I go there, obviously, to see the cars, but also go there to see the gadgets and all of the new technology that's kind of coming out. And this year it was fantastic. I mean, not only was there the Forza cover-art car, which is the Ford GT, so they had that behind glass, and that looked amazing. But there was Gran Turismo was everywhere. There was a mini stand, and they had 4 minis, and you could race the hill climb in Gran Turismo. So me and kind of 4 mates who went, we had a bit of a bet, a bit of a £5 bet on who could do the fastest hill climb. Unfortunately, I was doing well, but then I flipped my mini, so I think I came second or third. So it was a poor showing by me, but it was just great to see tech. I mean, even Toyota were using Oculus Rift, and there was Oculus Rift in a few places as well, and it was just fantastic. It was really cool. But the whole Goodwood was great fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, did you get a nice day?
I did. The day was lovely. It was just sunshine all the way. We had like a couple of spats of rain, but it was just literally a couple of spats of rain, and then that was it. It was just kind of sunny, and it was really lovely. This was the first time I'd gone by hospitality, because normally I go, we go and sit in the grandstands with my nephew and my brother-in-law, but I got I managed to cheekily get a pass from work and got a corporate one, and that was fantastic. So it was like kind of VIP all the way. So it's just kind of spoiled Goodwood for me now, because I need to do that next year, and it was bloody expensive. I found out. But it was really good. But the whole day is just such a great day, because there's so much there. Not only are you watching different cars doing a hill climb, but you've also got a ginormous car show. So it's just it was fantastic, and it kind of gave me a bit of a bug. So I kind of come back, and I as I'll talk about a bit, I started playing Forza again, continuing playing Forza Horizon 2. But because you kind of get home and you're like, I've just been seeing cars, so I kind of put Forza Horizon 2 on. So but yes, well that leads us quite nicely actually into kind of so what have you been playing this week apart from Periscope? What have you been playing? I've
been playing nothing really changed for me much. I've been playing The Witcher 3 still, getting through that. Things are developing at a reasonable pace. I've sort of had to really commit to getting further through it. I've just, I'm like, right, I'm not doing the secondary quests now. Let's just get some storyline behind me. So that's coming along well, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, because I don't know how far through I am or anything, but it's piecing together. The pieces are piecing together, and I feel that I'm getting close to finding Ciri, I suppose, and we will see. But I'm not enjoying it as much as I did at first, but I think it's because I'm feeling that I'm forcing myself to play it, but I don't want to shelve it because I'm scared I'll never go back. So I'm in a strange situation really with it, because I like to play because I want to. That's why we do things that we love, And
indeed, I mean that's quite interesting, because when it first came out, we were both like very excited about it. I mean, other stuff has dragged me away, but I'm definitely going back to it. And I just wondered, what is that's kind of doing that? Is it? Do you just feel there's too much? Because sometimes I get overwhelmed by games. It's just like there's so much to do, or is it just the storyline that's not grabbing you?
I don't know. I mean, is it just that less is more sometimes, and that it is a bit overwhelming with the sheer sort of scale of what you can do in the game. It is quite overwhelming. Now, this would be great if I only had one console and only had one game. I'd be quite happy, but I sort of feel an urgency to get onto other stuff, and it's holding me back because it's such a big game. I don't want to dilute the experience really by going on to another one. I don't usually play sort of to more than one big game at a time. If I'm playing Uncharted, I'll play that till I've finished it, but that's a bit easier because it took you 7 to 10 hours or whatever, or even a Halo campaign. Dragon Age I played all the way through, and didn't deviate. Now it's interesting because I didn't find myself forcing my way through it, so I don't know. Could it be the story maybe isn't as gripping? Could it be that I've sidled around too long on the secondary quests and lost my immersion in the main story? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna carry on. But I don't like to. It's such a beautiful experience. It feels wrong and almost hypocritical of me to say that it feels like a chore, because it is a pleasure to play it. I arrived. I hit a checkpoint where you end up going to the Isles of Skellige. It looks like Skellige, but they pronounce it Skellige in the game, and that's like the icy isles, so separate to the main island. And I ended up just walking through a forest, and the trees were just so densely packed in this forest that it was again, it's like the game that it just keeps on surprising me, and I was just taken aback, thinking, look at that, look at the way that the sun is shining through these just like hundreds of trees, and sort of the particles speckling down through onto the floor, which was covered in snow. Oh man, and the lighting it's just so good. So is it just that, is it just the sheer quality and scale of the game that is getting it so much lauded approval from everybody? Are we all blinded by the scale and spectacle that we don't take into account? There are numerous bugs, and the control isn't great, and is the storyline, is it really that great, or is it the fact that because I'm playing it in a more protracted fashion and not getting the storyline as concise, that's the trend for open world games anyway? Is it that's making it feel like a bit of a slog? I don't know, but I suppose I may have an answer next week, because I'm going to concentrate on some story stuff, and I have done for the last couple of playthroughs, and it has felt more, more fluent and a bit more what's the word? Sort of more of a together experience. But it's great, and it's what I like, the fact that you can deviate and go off track and just do what you want. So I don't know, it's strange. But I think the moral of the story is, anything that feels forced isn't great. Maybe I should have a rest from it, but it's just that I'm scared that I'll never go back. I'm not too sure that you will, young Antony. No.
I'm looking forward to going back. It's quite interesting because I bought Nicola a copy, so I downloaded mine digitally. Nicola got a copy, but she's actually saving it for a Christmas game. So it hasn't even opened. We haven't even opened the second copy yet. So because I said, well, I'll install it for you, get it all sorted. But she wants that as a Christmas game. So maybe it will come later in the year. I mean, for me at the moment, it's definitely Batman. I'm loving Batman and deep into that. But I am looking forward to going back to The Witcher, and I'm looking forward to kind of jumping back in. But it'll be interesting to see if I hit that kind of fatigue point as well.
Yeah, and it's kind of, especially with us doing the podcast now, there's sort of a pressure, if you like, or certainly a feeling that you need to be sort of expanding your horizons and diving in for different things, and you're bang in there with Arkham Knight and what have you. And me, I'm just sticking to my own and trusted game. It feels at the moment, I've gone from Bloodborne to Witcher, and that's really it as far as new releases are concerned. And I don't know. And after E3 as well. After E3, I sort of wanted to, in a way, I was thinking, I'm sick of The Witcher. I want all this new stuff, even though it's not out. Yet, but it really gave me a hankering for all these sort of new wares that are on the horizon, like Star Wars Battlefront, Sea of Thieves, and some things that are more imminent as well, not just the things that are far away. But I just thought, oh wow, look at this, it's new, and it kind of makes me feel quite fickle, as if it's like, as fantastic as The Witcher is, something new that maybe isn't as good would still take my fancy. But that's just variety, isn't it? It's just human nature, and variety is the spice of life. So yeah, that's. Oh, go on, sorry, mate.
No, I was going to say, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of Arkham Knight did that for me, because after E3, I was like, I want all that new stuff, I want all that shiny stuff, and then I put on Batman, and I was like, here it is. This is exactly what I want, and and it does look incredible, and so that's kind of helped me do that. Helped me. I sound like such a troubled child. It's helped me kind of transition from E3 to my gaming collection, and it is just fantastic. It's really good. So maybe something like that, maybe something different, but that is still epic and on a big scale.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, usually I'd have a little game to play, as well as, but I don't really include that. But at the moment, my little game that I've dived into again is called Never Alone. I don't know if you remember Never Alone. It's not a recent game. It's been out about a year, I think, by Upper One Games. And it's the game that it came out in November the 18th, 2014 on PS4, Xbox One, PC, Windows and Mac. And it's the one that's set in sort of Alaskan folklore with a little girl called... what's her name? Nuna, I think it is, and her Arctic fox. And you have to. It's sort of a puzzly game where you use the attributes of her as a little person and the fox's attributes of being able to run quick and stuff against the elements in the snow of like an Inuit folklore tale. And it's really nice. It's really nice. I'm really enjoying it. And so that's a nice little diversion. And the thing that I really like about this game is that it wasn't just sort of thought up in a boardroom or whatever, and then they just went, yeah, let's just make this game about Alaskan folklore. They actually, the publisher got in contact with the community that live in Alaska, like the elders and the native Alaskan storytellers, and got them involved in creating the game, which creates a story that's based and steeped in their traditional Inupiat lore, because this tribe is the Inupiats. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but they're an Inuit people, and they're called the Inupiat. So they really got the actual, indigenous tribe involved in the creation of the game, and so it's really cool. So you play Nuna and a little fox companion, and you use the skills of both characters to negotiate different obstacles, and it tells a good story, and the way she meets the little fox, and it's all cute and stuff, and there's a bond there, like say Ico or like Shadow of the Colossus with the horse, so I do like that sort of that relationship, that symbiotic relationship in a game, or like Tale of Two Brothers. It's kind of like, except you don't control both at the same time. And it's based on an Inuit tale of restoring nature's balance by visiting the source of the eternal blizzard. As along the way, you sort of there's owls in there, tricky to get places, so you can just plough through if you want, or you can try and get the owl. And every owl you get unlocks a video about the way of life of the people that you watch, like a documentary. So
right.
and it's usually relevant to what you've done in the game. So when you pick up a weapon, I forget the name of the weapon, but Nuna uses this weapon. It's a bit like a sling, but it's got many strands. So she sort of swings it round and throws it to stun enemies or whatever. And when you go past the owl at that part, it unlocks a little video, and then you can watch the video, and they're called insights, and it shows the actual people, the elders and the natives of the tribe talking about it, and they're sort of like, these weapons we've used them for hundreds of years, we still use them today, the crafting takes so long, and they show you them making it, and it's all got little relevant little bits like that, so it immerses you into the game really, and into the way of life and the folk tale itself. It's really nice. So I've been playing that, and I've been enjoying it. So nice little diversion there. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love those games, because was it Valiant Hearts, the World War One game from Ubisoft? That was fantastic, because halfway through they were showing you kind of documentary footage of World War One. And that was fantastic. You were learning as you were playing. It was fundicational. But it was so much fun, and it was it was interesting. You get to the end of a level and you kind of have these bits. And I was really reading them. I wasn't skimming or going, I'll read that later. I was so into couldn't wait to get to the end of the level to get more of this information. And it was really interesting. Yeah, I mean, that totally is. It's like edutainment at the pinnacle of the way it should be. I mean, I found it totally interesting with Never Alone, or should I say Kasima Inituna, which means
nice.
Which means I am not alone in maybe the native tongue. If our listenership has grown that wide, then they can email me and correct me if I'm wrong. But like an Assassin's Creed, I found the same with that. Especially Assassin's Creed 2 was the first time I found that. Sort of wandering around. Was it Rome for Assassin's Creed 2? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
And it had loads of history for all the buildings and telling you about stuff. And I was like, this is so interesting. And like Kingdom Hearts as well, because it's so poignant, and you're getting up. Well, I certainly was getting up a bit emotional about it. It's done so well, that the sort of double edge of the cartoony style with the heartrending realisation of the actual terror of war. And it really sort of pulled me in, and I was really interested in reading that. And shots of like the graves. They even did it in sort of Call of Duty 2. Call of Duty 2, I think it was the first game the first Call of Duty that came out on Xbox 360. And it's the one of the games that I got when I bought my 360, and that did the same. That one, unlike the Modern Warfare of today, I found that game very poignant. It started with the Normandy landing. You rushed in, and it was just really, really emotional and atmospheric. And then it showed like pictures of the squads and things like that, and it had just pictures from the time, and that sort of made you realise just how awful war was. I mean, I'm sure that the new Modern Warfare games do the same, but they're a little bit more sensationalised, I feel. They've sort of just gone from strength to strength in the action and spectacle. But that, I think, it just drew you in as well. And it's a nice touch, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like it when they expand the experience, so it's not just kind of, especially something like a war game or whatever. You're learning more of the human side behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're never alone. And a bit of old faithful Spelunky. Nothing to say about that apart from I've been playing it a bit.
You just can't leave it alone. Do you get Spelunky withdrawals? Like if it's kind of gets to about Monday and you haven't played?
I think what it is, it's a comfort game now. If I'm doing rubbish on something else, I can have a quick go at that and feel good about myself.
That's superb.
What about you? What have you been playing then? Obviously Arkham Knight. How's that been developing?
Yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's quite interesting because, how we were talking about The Witcher, I've seen kind of the internet explode about Arkham Knight, where you've had kind of people saying, it's great, it's Batman's here, the new Batman game, and then suddenly the tank levels seem to be annoying a lot of people, and then suddenly they start going, yeah, it's not that good, but I'm enjoying it. I know what people are talking about when it comes to the tank levels, and they are kind of a little bit monotonous in places, and I do just want to kind of get past them quite quickly. But at the same time, it's an amazing game. For the first time in a game, kind of a bit like you with Witcher, really, I'm finding myself torn between a well-developed side mission or the story mission. And I just do not. I was on a bridge. I was on a bridge for about kind of like a couple of minutes the other night, and I just couldn't decide whether I wanted to go left and go to the story or go right and go and do a Riddler side quest. And I really just couldn't make up my mind which one I wanted to do. And I'm just finding myself as jaw dropping because it just looks incredible, especially when you're driving around Gotham. It's quite tight when you're driving around Gotham. It looks incredible. It's always raining. You're getting ripples of Batman's cape and it just looks fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. And it's quite interesting because last week I was saying about when we were talking about the season pass about how that I had to play for it once before I could unlock the skins.
Yeah.
I did a bit of digging after the podcast, and it turns out Arkham Knight is the first one that allows you to play as any of the unlocked skins. So as you're playing along, if you've got the season pass, if you've got exclusive DLC, you unlock skins. So I was playing it for like one playthrough. I was playing it with like anime Batman, which just looks incredible. And then I was playing it as 52 Batman, and I just really liked it. I've got a couple of Robins, a couple of Nightwings, and I just changed their look as well because I prefer a certain Nightwing, certain Robin. I'm quite demanding when it comes to my Batman, and it's just fantastic. It's really good because those choices that you make, those skins that you unlock, whenever you come across those characters or talk to them, they're wearing that costume that you've selected. So well done there, Rocksteady. It's a nice touch. That doesn't mean I have to play for it once to kind of get the Batman that I want to play.
Yeah, and I mean it's not as if it gives you any extra powers or anything. It's just an overlay, isn't it? So why not?
It's just aesthetics, absolutely, and it just because I love the anime Batman. I just think it looks incredible. It's very menacing. I'm hoping to unlock a Batman Beyond Batman because that looks fantastic, and also a Dark Knight, Frank Miller's Dark Knight, which is my favourite. But hopefully get those kind of later on in the game. But I can see there'll be a couple of playthroughs anyway if I want to get certain achievements. So, but it's fantastic. So I've been playing a lot of that. What I've been finding is I've been playing certain games when the sun's up, and then when the sun goes down, which at the moment is until 9-10 o'clock at night. When the sun goes down, that's when I put my headphones on, and that's when I start playing Batman. And it's quite interesting because the headphones that I was talking about a couple of episodes ago, the ones that I'm using, my Turtle Beach, they work so well with Batman. It is just incredible. The surround sound in the movie room works fantastic, but these headphones you can hear every sound. And when you're trying to do those stealth Batman takedowns, they just work really well, and it's fantastic. I'm really enjoying it. And then kind of on my sun up game this week has been Yoshi's Woolly World.
Cool.
I got it on Friday, so when I got home from Goodwood, it was there. So I played it on Saturday. Oh my god, it's adorable. It is just, I got the little green woolly amiibo. So that's my first amiibo. And instantly, when I was walking past Game on Saturday, I was like, I wonder if they've got any other amiibos. What can I go in and get?
I think the Yoshi one is like one of the definite best. I mean, they're bringing out an 8-bit Mario one that I think is pretty cool. Can I just ask you?
Yes.
Is the only way to get the Woolly Yoshi amiibo to get the game as well? Because I haven't been able to find it on its own. Is it not a standalone amiibo yet?
It is standalone amiibo. There is a pink, blue and green, but they are gold dust.
As usual.
So they are absolute gold dust. I got the Game and Amiibo pack, and it's quite interesting because a friend of mine tweeted on Saturday that he got one from Leicester, and I instantly tweeted back, and how did you get that? And it was like the last one there. So they are gold dust at the moment, and on eBay as well. They're quite expensive. So already they're kind of through the roof. And I remember there was a website, Shop2Net or something like that. They sold out ages ago. I think they said, get them here, and then within 10 minutes they'd sold out and they couldn't fulfill orders. So we love that Yoshi. We love that Woolly Yoshi. But the game is fantastic. It is side-scrolling, cute as anything. I love it. It's just one of those ones, where we were talking last week about the smile on my face, this one just gave me a big grin. And it's fantastic. It's really good. I'm playing it with the Pro controller for the Wii U. That works really well, and it's just fantastic.
Oh, brilliant! Well, you see, I'm right there. I want you to have that smile on your face, and the difference is, I imagine that Yoshi's Woolly World isn't asking for any extra money.
Yes, indeed, it's not. Well, it is, because it's saying if you get this
amiibo,
you could do this. Because what happens is, it's really fantastic. Because what happens is, say for instance, if you had a Mario amiibo, you touch the amiibo on the gamepad.
Yeah. Is it the NFS sensor, near field sensor or something?
Yeah. And then your Yoshi in game turns into a Mario coloured Yoshi.
Oh yeah, sort of a mutated Mario, isn't it, or something? Or whichever character it is, it'll turn into a woolly version. Almost.
So that was it. So me on Saturday, that's when I went into game to see if they had any Mario Yoshis. They had a Luigi, and I was like, oh, should I get Luigi? But then I thought, no, because he's already green, so it's not going to give me much. But so they are, they've pulled a string. See what I did there? They pulled a string, and I'm already kind of looking at different amiibos. So I've been playing that, love it. I tried to get Nicola to co-op with me, but her words, not mine, was, I don't play it properly, so she's not going to co-op with me. She'll play it on her own. So what she means by I don't play it properly is that I do like to just kind of get from start to finish. I'm not kind of collecting everything and going over here, and I'm just more kind of, I'm getting from A to B.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get, every ball of yarn, every smiley cloud. I just want to kind of, get whatever's on my way. So she was saying, you don't play that properly, so I'll play it on my own because it looks great. So that was quite funny. I think it may have saved our marriage anyway. And then finally, as I was saying, when I got back from Goodwood, I've been playing Forza Horizon 2. So I was just kind of in a car mood. Played that for a while, and then I had an achievement where you could get to level 150. You got a gold wristband, so that was my kind of goal. I always like to get to the maximum level on a Forza game before I say, yep, that's it, I'm waiting for the next one. So I done that last night, got to level 150, so I'm now kind of officially done with Forza Horizon 2. Loved it. It was a fantastic game, but now I'm just going to wait now for September 15th for when Forza 6 comes out.
Wow, congratulations, mate. It sounds like you've done well there.
It was a good achievement. It's one of those ones where you kind of unlocks and you're just like, yeah, I'll work towards that one. And you really did. I mean, you really had to work for it. It took me a while, but it was fantastic.
You earned that one for certain. Oh, talking about driving games, we mentioned Drive Club last week, and I forgot to mention that I created a Drive Club, Gamers of the Lost Spark Drive Club. So if you want to come and join the club, do that.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, if anyone wants to, can they just search for it in game?
Yeah, you can just search for it. And I'd already done it. I'd already done it, and I completely forgot about it when we were talking about Drive Club and the PS Plus version last week. So, yeah, anyone listening, if you want to have a little race with myself or Anthony, if you're joined or if you join, then yeah, just have a look for that Drive Club. And I think you were saying on the next Forza, there's a similar thing, is there?
Absolutely. There's something in Horizon 2 where you can do a club. So hopefully if they bring that functionality over to 6, then I'll do the same there as well. And that would be fantastic. We can have like listeners kind of all get together and do some races, set some lap times. It'll be good fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. One little question that I've got, and forgive my memory because I can't remember if this was news that came just after last week's recording. Or if we talked about it. I don't think we talked about it in the podcast, but did you see the news that Arkham Knight had been pulled from Steam? Or did we discuss this last week? I can't remember.
No, I think we were saying that it should be pulled from Steam last week, but yeah, I did. I saw that it got pulled from Steam, and quite rightly so. And I think they're kind of Rocksteady have said that they are working around the clock to get a patch for the PC version.
Yeah, and they won't release it until it's sort of fit for purpose, which is, fair enough, really. But yeah, that's the first time it's happened with a sort of a full price game on Steam. And let's hope that that's where the trend will stop.
Wow. So let's get on to our news section. And in this week's news section, we'll talk about all those 3 games that are coming in July. We'll talk about Microsoft's games presence, or Gamescom presence even, and we'll also talk about Nolan North's loose lips. So that was really hard to say, Nolan North's loose lips. So Darren, over to you for the first piece of news.
Yeah, okay, so what have we got here? Yeah, well, the first piece of news we'll start with is a nice little thing. PlayStation Plus was 5 years old on the 29th of June. So yeah, PlayStation Plus, that service has been going for 5 years and a little bit now. And to mark the anniversary, they're going to be sending emails out to people that have been there from the beginning, and they're going to send them some kind of personalised reward. I don't know what that is because I haven't had an email, and I won't be getting one because I didn't join the service straight away. I disagreed with them doing the PlayStation Plus. I didn't want it to change to a paid service. So there was a little while I rebelled against it. I bet you're not surprised at that, are you?
Yeah, no shocker there.
Have you been there since the beginning, Antony?
I have indeed. I was when they first announced it.
So why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised?
I was just like, yeah, take my money. Yes. Something new? Take my money. Absolutely. I'm surprised my wife doesn't ban me or take all of my credit cards away or something.
You're lucky she's a gamer. She can appreciate the
she does
gaming
indeed,
core.
I mean, for me, that money that you spend every year on PlayStation Plus is just so worth it, especially because I have a Vita as well, and they always bring out so many games for that.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. At the beginning, I wasn't convinced. In fact, I was one of the chosen people that filled in their questionnaire when they were scoping the market to find out what the response would be, because I'd been a PlayStation member, since as soon as it was possible to sign up. I got a questionnaire. They were like, do you want to do a survey? We want to ask you some questions about the way that PlayStation are going to go in the future. And it was all about what would you think if we were to change the system. Well, not really change the system, but if we were to offer a paid service and we offered this and that, and what would you think about this? And would you think this was good value or that was good value? And so I did the survey for that, and I was like, this will never take off. This will never work. It'll all be finished with by Christmas. And I answered, no, I don't like this. I don't want you to do this. Just leave it free. Leave it nice. I don't care about your free games. Just leave it as it is, and let's not play for multiplayer. Though, if they'd have said that, I think they may have mentioned it actually. The only sort of thing that kind of won me over was that there'd be more stability, because PlayStation Network, even to this day, has more of a reputation of being a bit more flaky than the paid and stable servers that Microsoft's got, but they've got their server farm, haven't they? So yeah, I tried to scupper it in the start, but now I'm glad that they went ahead anyway against my advice, because I really like PS Plus and I think it's such good value. On PS Plus games alone, there's enough game in there for me to never buy another game.
No, absolutely, and a lot of the games that I play on PlayStation are PlayStation Plus games. I do buy the exclusives, but a lot of the time the games that I do play on there are PlayStation Plus games. So I always get my money's worth every month.
Yeah. Well, so do I. I'm not even a Yorkshireman, but and here's a little thing. So when I moved to Xbox One, I sort of got rid of my 360, and 360 was where I used to play Spelunky, so I had no Spelunky. So I wouldn't even be going on about Spelunky today if it wasn't for PlayStation Plus, because once I got my PS4 with the Destiny package, because I hopped on board the hype for Destiny, and I got the Glacier White PS4, and I think that month, as a surprise to me, Spelunky was one of the free games. and that's why I've been playing it ever since. And it sort of reignited my spark, if you like, to play Spelunky. So thank you, PS Plus. And there's many other games. Flow. What I am waiting to come out, actually, it's not a PS Plus game, or they may be holding it back, is Journey. I'm waiting for the PS4 Journey to come out, and they've been talking about that for quite some time. I thought it'd be a relatively easy port, but it doesn't seem to rear its head. But never mind. I shall wait.
No, absolutely. It should just be a file save as, surely, shouldn't it?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it, done. File save as, PS4, done. But no, I mean, that would be fantastic. With that kind of running in 1080p, 60 frames a second on your nice big screen, that would just be... I love that game so much. That was a real surprise for me, Journey, because I just kind of picked it up because everybody was talking about it one Saturday. I was like, I'll see what's happened. Played through it all in one go, and I was just blown away by it. You kind of took your headphones off at the end, and it was just such an experience.
Yeah, that end bit where they sort of, reincarnate, if you like, and the music. I think it's called Apotheosis or something, that song, or that tune. Or the music all the way is amazing, but that particular one where they're sort of flying through the air with all the strings. Oh, man, I love it. It's actually, it's my alarm clock.
Really?
It's my alarm clock MP3 now. I bought the soundtrack from iTunes, and that's the one I've got to set on my iPad at 5:30 a.m. or whatever it is, and it comes on because it's a nice slow and gradual thing. So you wake up to the strings, and it's a nice experience to wake up to. If you want to give it a try, I wholeheartedly recommend it. So what about you, Anthony? What's your piece of news, or one of your pieces of news for today?
Well, my next news is the same about it's staying with the PlayStation Network, but the PlayStation Network seems to be having a few problems. So it may be 5. It may have partied too hard. It's got a bit of a hangover because there's been several problems of slowness or sluggish downloads on the PlayStation Network. So they're just saying that at the moment the downloads are really slow, and also online games are also crawling as well. I had a quick check just before we went live, just to see if it was still happening, to see if it is still a news story. And it is. They're still saying that due to factors external to PlayStation Network, they're suffering some problems. So users have been reporting that Arkham Knight's day one patch, which was about 3.5 gig, was taking 12 hours to download, and online games just seem to be experiencing really slow, really sluggish, and very juddery. So there's been no more news from Sony there, and that came from the official PlayStation magazine, and there's been no more news since then, and that broke yesterday. But we'll have to wait and see. Have you experienced any of that on the PlayStation Network, Darren?
Well, first of all, ouch! It sounds really bad, but no, I've been protected within my Witcher bubble because
yes,
it's not got any online. It did install. I got an update for Witcher and Drive Club. I got 2 updates to notify me that they'd been installed yesterday when I was playing. So, but I don't know how they could have been going on for ages because I've got my PS4 is always on, so it's doing that in the background. But no, so I've not had anything like that happen to me. But I haven't played any multiplayer, and I haven't downloaded anything that I've actually wanted to play. So I haven't noticed. I haven't been sort of drumming my fingers waiting for anything to download because I'm embroiled in that big saga that we all love called The Witcher. So I haven't noticed it. I wonder, does it mention, has any groups come out and said it was them, like Lizard Squad? Is it a DDoS or anything like that, or is it just unknown?
No, nobody's come out and said we're doing that, or there's no kind of what happened at Christmas. There's not a replay of that. So it's just an interesting one, and Sony seem to be keeping quite quiet about it. But it's. I hope it's not another attack, because Sony have had this quite a few times, haven't they?
It's getting embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, This is the thing. I sort of alluded to it a little moment ago about Sony. They've always had a little bit of a rep of being a bit more flaky than Microsoft. Over Christmas, Microsoft did fix it a lot quicker than Sony, and I really felt for the kids that must have got like either system on Christmas Day. And what a stupid, motivationless, as far as I can see, attack that was, just to say, hey, we're Lizard Squad, or whatever they are. It's just so sad. I can imagine like little children just crying if can't use their Christmas present. It really made me sad. And it wasn't. It was a bad shout. So I was wondering if this was the same sort of thing. But there's been more than just the DDoS attacks for Sony. That they've been down umpteen times in the last 6 months, and it's not good. I thought we were maybe free of it. This is the first one that's happened for a little while, so I thought they'd shaken it. But then all of a sudden, when this happens again, you sort of remember all the other times. I think there's been 3 or 4 times this year, but there's been a good 2 or 3 months, I think, of plain sailing between the last event and now, and this has happened again. I mean, it can't be. I would say that it can't be anything. They said external to them, didn't they?
Yes, they did. But then again, if it was something that was sinister, they would have to tell people straight away, because then you're dealing with people's credit card information and people's identities. So if it was something like that, they would probably have 24 hours to tell everybody, because, like I say, their information's being stolen. And if they came out a couple of weeks later to say, oh, by the way, that was an attack and you now got to change your password, I think a lot of people would be up in arms.
Yeah, I think until they prove that there was a breach, though, or anything like that, they wouldn't probably be obligated to say something. But once they can confirm that there's been a breach and any kind of attack has got through their defences, then I think they'd have to be hands on till and sort of like announce it that something's happened, because that, as you say, it's dealing with the integrity of the data that they hold and the sensitive data for millions of people. So I suppose we'll just keep our eye on that and see if it all comes out in the wash, if it's all resolved by next podcast. But interesting, and I hope that I'm not going to have to play a multiplayer game while this is happening, but I'm sure many people are. I suppose this hasn't been holding you back on Arkham Knight, though, have it? Because it's a single player experience. Yeah,
single player, and also I'm playing it over on Xbox as well, so I'm good to go.
Oh, of course, yeah. Sorry, silly me, thinking you were playing it on PS4. Yeah, well, you're definitely not going to get affected then, are you? Because you're playing it on Xbox One.
No, they need to get it fixed before the Uncharted collection comes out, because that's one I'll be buying digitally and playing it there. So we'll have to wait and see. So what's your next piece of news? I saw this in our kind of news in our kind of jotted notes, and I don't know anything about this. I'm quite intrigued. What's your next piece?
Right. So we all know, or most, I think if you're listening to this, you know that Fallout 4 is coming out this year in November. And we're all very excited about it. But what a classic move from a fan called Seth, also known as Gator Machete Jr. He thought he would pay for the game in the currency from the game. Now, the currency in Fallout 3 and 4, and I'm presuming 1 and 2 as well, though I haven't played those isometric adventures, is the bottle cap. I actually saw a bottle cap on the floor the other day and started thinking about Fallout 4 and getting all itchy for its release. So this guy, Seth, or Gator Machete Jr., got in touch with Bethesda and said, "Yeah, I want to. Can I buy it in bottle caps? Because I've got enough bottle caps for you." And he's got something like I don't know, thousands of bottle caps, 2,240 bottle caps. He offered to buy to pre-order Fallout 4. And Bethesda basically thought it was such a funny bit of cheek that they decided to honour it, but only for him. Only for him. So,
wow, that's cool. Yeah, I bet they put out a press briefing after that saying no one else can have
it. Yeah, they certainly did. Bethesda's Matt Grandstaff said because he was the first, he deserves the recognition. And there's a quote from Seth from website Imgur. Fallout 3 was my favourite game. I should do a little accent, but I won't. Fallout 3 was my favourite game for several years, so I made the rational choice to start saving on bottle caps, said Seth. It turns out that 4.5 years of undergrad and 3 years in a master's programme leads to a lot of drinking. It ended up being 11.2 pounds of bottle caps. You don't want to know how much it cost to ship it to Maryland. And there's a nice picture that was tweeted of basically 2 cardboard boxes full of the 2,240 bottle caps and a little Pip-Boy on top. So yeah, Seth's going to get the game paid for in the game's currency. You can't say fairer than that.
That's fantastic. That's just so cool. That's really good fun. And good on Bethesda for kind of honouring that as well. I like that.
Absolutely. It's so fortuitous because it's a great idea from the guy. He gets Fallout 4. It's proper win-win. They honour it, which is really nice, but they think, this is a demon story. So everybody wins.
Fantastic. Right, my next piece of news is, I always kind of bang on about this website kind of every podcast, and it's the Xbox feedback site. So this week they announced some stats, and they were saying that they've had 1 million votes for backward compatibility titles. So you can go on to feedback@xbox.com, and you can vote for what title you want to be backward compatible. And they've had over 1 million votes cast in just 1 week. So it shows you how popular that announcement at E3 and that functionality is. If people are just kind of on there, kind of voting left, right, and centre the games that they want to come to the program.
Yeah.
So leading the way, I do like a countdown. Leading the way is Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption. So I guess people just, I would love to play through Red Dead Redemption once more, and I would happily play it on my Xbox One. So that's got 54,000 votes has been cast for Red Dead Redemption.
Wow.
And that's a lot of votes. And then after that, we've got Black Ops 2, that's got 50,000, followed by Skyrim, Halo Reach, and Modern Warfare 2. And then other kind of top 20 include Fallout 3, of course, Gears of War 3, Mass Effect 3, Bioshock Infinite, and also Fallout New Vegas. But that's an interesting one, because if you pre-order or buy Fallout 4 on Xbox One, you get Fallout 3 for free.
You do, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So that's an interesting one. So maybe people, they don't want to wait till Fallout 4 comes out. They want to get it before, maybe have a bit of a play. And then there's also kind of Batman games and Portal 2 and the Orange Box as well, kind of all kind of rounding out the top 20. But it just shows, doesn't it, just kind of how successful that was, and it's almost like it adds an extra 1,000+ games to the Xbox One.
Yeah, it does, and it's sort of, I think it's a fantastic announcement, and I was so excited about it when they announced it. I was like, yes, this is brilliant. But when we talked last week about the dust settling, and when the dust did settle, and I wiped the rose tint away from my glasses, I did sort of think, well, it should have been there from the start. I thought it would have been nice to, everybody sort of expected it.
It's quite interesting, because I listened to an interview the other day, and it was basically Phil Spencer. We can thank Phil Spencer for this backwards compatibility, because the moment he became the head of Xbox One, the first thing he did was green light the backwards compatibility.
Wow, he is the man.
He really is. I mean, someone who just kind of comes on and go, right, day one, get that sorted, and task the team up in Redmond to get that sorted.
This is another win-win, I think, as well, from the manufacturer's point of view, because, okay, they give you backwards compatibility, all right, that's fantastic. Now, if I would have known that I would be getting backwards compatibility as a given on each iteration of somebody's console, so if I knew that if I had a Microsoft console going forward, that there would always be backwards compatibility for 1/2 generations previous, let's just say one going back one, then it would give me a lot more motivation to buy games digitally rather than physically, and that's what the guys, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, they want you to buy digital. They want you to, because it's a lot easier for them to deliver it to you, digitally. It's a lot easier for us because we don't have to get off our lazy bums and swap a disc. But there's always been a bit of a cost thing, and I can't trade it in and things like that. But if I knew, you see, I'm regretting it now. I'm regretting not buying a lot of these games digitally that I did buy on my Xbox 360, because then once they got past the green flag of getting made backward compatible, I'd have them there waiting. And that makes me sort of like a bit sad that I didn't get them digitally. So if ever there was another reason to get on the digital bandwagon, I think this is a big one.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's quite interesting because Phil Spencer said in the interview that he, he's been telling everyone via Twitter or whatever to when those games for gold comes up on the 360, make sure you bag them. And he said, because that was always my way of hinting to everybody that we're doing this and that you need to start, because they've been giving so much stuff away each month on the Xbox 360. It was almost his kind of wink at the camera to say, you better download it. Just bag it. You don't have to download it to a console. Just go onto Xbox.com and say buy, and that's it. Yeah. That's all you have to do.
It bypassed me because I haven't been bothering, and now as soon as I heard this, I was like, and then I've seen, we'll get to them in a short while, but I've seen July's, and I'm like, right, this time I'm getting the 360 ones as well, just in case, just to wait. And I wish I'd done that with some others, because there's been some damn fine games that have been given away free on 360 Games with Gold in the last few months.
Absolutely. You missed out on Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise a couple of months ago.
Exactly. I could have been converted.
But you'll get that in Rare Replay, and then every week I'll be saying, "Are you playing it? Are you playing it? What do you think?" And this will turn into the Horstachio podcast, or maybe I'll have my own spin-off.
I don't need to get it from Replay. I get it from you every single week.
Every week you get it in both ears.
I do, man. But I didn't play. I played the first one. Oh, I don't know. I'll refresh my memory with Rare Replay. Do you get both Viva Pinatas on there? Trouble in Paradise.
You do get both Viva Pinatas on Rare Replay. It's like this podcast is sponsored by Rare Replay. So yeah, though I can't wait for that. But this is really interesting, because people that are not in the preview program, they have to wait until autumn, and they say that they want to launch with more than 100 titles. So they're grabbing this Xbox feedback site, that's going to be their list. They have to go off to the publishers and get the permission. But once they've done, that's kind of the list that they're going to be looking at first. So that's it. It's a great website, and it's if you want to be part of your Xbox and enjoy that experience and kind of pitch in, then it's a fantastic website.
A few points that I just thought of. First of all, I wish I could scan the barcode of the physical game from my 360 and then have access. That would be great.
Nice.
Other than that, it would be fantastic if they made them available to buy, as well as just if you owned it. So I presume, I don't know if they're going to do that, if they're going to make it, and if they do that, make it an equivalent of buying the game at this price point, not be like 30 quid, when you can probably pick up a copy of, I don't know, let's have a look, Red Dead Redemption, probably for about £8. So make a realistic price for buying the backwards compatibility if they're going to be available to buy, because I'm not sure they've said that you're just going to be able to outright buy them, whether it's just going to be if you owned them you can play them.
Yeah, there are some of those games that we've been talking about. Some of them are already, because they did start dabbling with digital AAA titles on Xbox 360, so some of those you can already buy. But yeah, it would be very interesting if they suddenly just reduced them all to a realistic price point rather than that kind of RRP of 5 years ago. Because I know if they brought out Arkham Origins, which was the last one that I never finished, then I would definitely kind of download that, play that, and be happy to do that on my Xbox One.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but what I would do if they were saying, right, I want £25 for it, I'd probably just say, well, you're all right, I'll pop down CEX and get it for £6 and then pop the physical disc in, because that's also an option.
Indeed, absolutely, spot on. So, up for the next piece, so you've got another piece of Fallout news, and this was quite interesting, because this news we actually talked about after the announcement. So this kind of answers that question that we left hanging in the ether a couple of weeks ago.
We did, and obviously, Bethesda had thought, the gamers of the Lost Spark haven't really cleared this matter up, so we'll do a big press release just to remind them, and they have done that, so that's fantastic. So yeah, exclusive in the UK from Game, you can get the Fallout 4 Collector's Edition or Special Edition or whatever it was, the expensive one, and it comes with a Pip-Boy that you can wear on your wrist, a real physical Pip-Boy wristlet that you can wear, and you can insert a phone, and we talked about it already. You can insert your phone, and they're releasing this companion app, which is going to be like the Pip-Boy console, which is the menu that you use within Fallout to access your inventory and what have you, and tweak your weapons and stuff like that. So the companion app is going to be that menu system on your phone or on your tablet, which is fantastic anyway, because like a lot of RPGs, there's a lot of going into the menu on it. I think RPGs and this idea has been the best idea of a companion app that I've yet seen, and it actually makes me think, why don't they expand it to all RPGs? I was just thinking in The Witcher, it's a right pain having to go into the menu and go into the inventory and what have you. If you manage it on the fly, it's just a bit more elegant and a bit more streamlined, and that's what this companion app thing has been all about for me. Like anything new, it's like use it in a way where it's useful. Don't just use it because, everybody's got a tablet and we've heard the word companion app, you've got to have a companion app for no matter what the purpose is. They've abandoned the companion app on The Division, I read. That's probably old news now, it's about 10 days old, but they've got rid of that. And I was happy about that, because I sort of thought, it's companion app for companion app's sake, as far as I could see. But anyway, back to the news story at hand. So you can wear this Pip-Boy on your wrist, just like Fallout 4 character or Fallout 3 character or whatever, and you can insert your phone. And we discussed it, didn't we, Anthony? And we were saying, well, there's a lot of different shapes and sizes of phone. How's that going to work? And you rightly said, well, they'll probably have some sort of template thing that you can put your phone in and it'll slot inside. And I wasn't sure whether it'd fit sort of the big phones. And anyway, according to the Bethesda blog, they've given this information out, and I'll read it. We have new information on the phones compatible with the Pip-Boy Edition. The Pip-Boy included will have foam inserts that fit the iPhone 6, iPhone 5 and 5S, iPhone 4 and 4S, Samsung Galaxy 5 and the Samsung Galaxy 4. In addition, using the customisable foam insert, you should be able to fit most other popular smartphone devices. As we wanted to stay faithful to the dimensions of the in-game model, any smartphones larger than the models listed will not fit inside the wearable device. For these larger devices, our Pip-Boy companion app will still be available. So, iPhone 6 Plus users and users of phones of that size and dimension will not be able to get it inside the Pip-Boy. So it's, forewarned is forearmed, and I just hope that nobody who owns one of those phones has pre-ordered it. Though hopefully, if they have, they've got an old phone, an old iPhone 4 or whatever, lying around that they could just use specifically for that.
Or if they've pre-ordered it, they could still continue with their order and then sell it on eBay because they have sold out. You cannot get it on Games website at all, and Bethesda did another announcement saying that when they're gone, they're gone. They're not making any more. It is strictly a limited edition run.
No, well, that'll teach me for not making my mind up quick enough.
Yeah, no, because I had a look the other day. I had a look on Games website. I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy it. I went on there, they were like out of stock. And then I had a look on Bethesda's tweets, and they were like, when it's gone, it's gone.
Oh man, in a way, it saved me £100, but I sort of wanted one. This is genuine live disappointment, live on the air. Oh, damn it!
Sorry about that, Daz. I didn't mean to break it to you so
That's
hard.
All right.
I should have gone, Daz, I want to talk to you about something.
Sit down a minute. Just pause the recording.
Sit down. Yeah. Get yourself some water or something.
That's a shame, because they're going to be loads to get now. They're going to be absolutely loads.
They really will. You can just imagine a lot of people kind of jumping out. One of my major soapboxes, which I won't get onto here, but it is people just buying this fantastic stuff just to sell it on eBay. That does my head in. But I won't get onto that right now. But yeah, so they did say that when it's gone, it's gone. But that's really interesting that. So we were right that they had little templates, but it's just not going to fit those big beefy phones.
No, you can't please everybody, all of the time, and I think it's a fair enough decision. It's got to probably end up looking too wide on the top of your wrist. They've got an idea of what it looks like. They've got the dimensions and that, so they've done the best that they can. And you still got the companion app, and if you're rich and privileged enough to have an iPhone 6 Plus, then you're obviously rich enough to have just go out and buy an iPhone 4 8 gig. And just have it just for that. That's what I'd do.
Yeah, it's just so cool. You have an iPhone 4 just for, or you could get an iPod Touch, couldn't you? Because that has apps as well, so you could get that and stick that in there with that other template that you can model to whatever you want. So that's quite an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that's that news. What about your next piece, Anthony?
Well, my next piece is Microsoft did an announcement this week about their presence at Gamescom. So Gamescom is the next one. We've got kind of Comic-Con, haven't we, in a couple of weeks' time, and then there's Gamescom. So Gamescom is the German E3, the European E3 in Cologne, Germany, and it's kicking off on the 4th of August, so roughly about a month's time. And Microsoft basically announced that they're going to do a whole load of similar to what they did in E3. They're going to do a briefing on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and that's their time. I think it works. I think it's 4 p.m. our time, so it's going to be 4 p.m. our time and 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is if you're over there in the States. And they said that the titles that they're going to include are Scalebound, Quantum Break, Crackdown, amongst others. So, just those three, you're going to have a fantastic lineup. So it's like E3, they showed us what's coming out this holiday, and then they're using Gamescom to start next year. With Scalebound, Quantum Break, and Crackdown, those were the ones that really were missing from me from the E3 conference. So it's already starting to be quite an interesting Gamescom.
Yeah, what an absolute triple whammy. They're going to knock it out of the park there again. Can't wait to see more about Scalebound. Really looking forward to that.
Absolutely, and don't forget, Sony are not here, are they? Because Sony aren't at Gamescom this year. They're not having a briefing. They're saving that for the Paris Game Show.
Yeah, that's right. And they're not even going to do a digital event with puppets.
That would be so funny. I'd love to see Shuhei Yoshida as a Muppet, because that would just be fantastic. But they will also have a booth, obviously. So they're going to have a booth which will be there from Wednesday through to Sunday. And they also have some Xbox Fan Fest events as well. Now, they did this at E3. They did some meet and greets around Microsoft stores, and people got into the briefing. They got these really cool pins. They were given stuff. Microsoft, they really know how to... I think it's Aaron Greenberg and also Major Nelson. They really know how to look after their fans. They really know how to look after that hardcore that start queuing 24 hours before a meet and greet. The ones that are there waiting. I was listening to Major Nelson's podcast this week, and they had this chap, Aaron Greenberg, and they were saying that people started queuing up 24, 36 hours before the doors opened to this Microsoft event, and they popped down there in the evening and they bought everybody pizza, and then in the morning they bought everyone breakfast, and they said they had at one point they had about 300 people queuing, the 300 hardcore, because the first 500 got into the briefing as well, so they had like 300 people, and they were giving them breakfast, pizza, coffee, just keeping them hydrated while they were lining up to get into the store for a meet and greet. And I just thought, that's just fantastic. That is really nice. That's a really nice thing to do.
That is great. It gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling to think that the gamers are being looked after by the gamies, if you like. Yeah, that is great, and they do. You're right, they do. And I think because in the past, I forget which launch it was. It might have been Xbox 360, but the massive queue, and then the first 50 or so all got free Xboxes. Do you remember that?
Wow, yeah, that was the one that was down on Oxford
That's
Street,
right. Yeah,
wasn't it?
I remember. And I was like, I was thinking of going as well, and I was, damn my lazy ass for staying at home.
Do you know what? When the Xbox 360 came out, I pre-ordered mine on Play.com back in the day when Play was kind of one of those things. I pre-ordered it on Play, and straight away when they announced it, I think it was like an E3, and I changed my order at some point. I wanted a different bundle, and of course by doing that stupidly, it put me to the back of the queue. So it was coming out on the Friday, so Thursday I'm looking at Play, refreshing every 5 minutes, and Play, it was just not saying, it wasn't processing my order, it wasn't shipping my order. So I went over to my boss, and with a panic look in my face, I just said, I need to take the afternoon off. And he was like, okay, fine, and he let me take the afternoon off, and I went to my local Tesco. I went to a Tesco, and I just started queuing. So this was about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. Started queuing then, and there was a couple of guys in front of me, and then it was a really tense time, because at one point Tesco's wasn't going to acknowledge the line. They said they haven't got a line, they won't acknowledge it. But luckily that manager left, and we got the night manager came on. He was a gamer, and he just basically said, look, we got 24 consoles, and that's when they brought out the standard and advanced editions. We've got 24 advanced, we've got 10 standard, first come, first serve. So we all started putting our names down, and it was just so tense. And it was really funny, because I ended up getting my console. I got one, moral of the story, I got one, which was fantastic. But then I had to have a police escort from this Tesco's to where my car was parked, in the Tesco's car park. A policeman walked us over, I put it in my boot, drove home, and because I'd been queuing for like 12 hours, I was so knackered, I just opened up the Xbox 360, looked at it and went, wow, that's lovely, and then I went to bed. But the next day, when I woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, I was ready to go. The next day, it took me all day to get it online. But the next day, I kind of woke up and then I enjoyed it. But it was just the fact that I went to bed, kind of hugging my Xbox 360, you know, that I just queued for 12 hours.
Yeah, I can imagine that. The sigh of success, that would be me. I'd be so knackered with the sigh of success, and I'd have my arm around the box. Well, it'd be unboxed, but I'd sort of have my hand on top and then just be asleep with my cheek on the carpet and all drill in the morning. Peel myself up and think, oh, what's going on? Not another hangover. And then it's like you see the Xbox, you're like, yes, demon, let's get this on.
I put it right by my bed. So it was the first thing that I saw in the morning. And then that day I had the Friday off of work, in anticipation of this new console release. And I got to play it all day, which was just fantastic. But that was Tesco's in the middle of nowhere. But when they're doing these events, Microsoft really know how to kind kind of look after their customers.
Yeah, they're good shepherds. They're good shepherds of us gaming sheep. I don't like to call us sheep. That's a bad shout using that. But you know what I mean. And I suppose I'll probably be watching on the Microsoft the Xbox Live Event player, because it's sort of on the Xbox. It worked well for their conference at E3. So that I presume it'll be in the App Store ready.
Absolutely, exactly the same. It's going to be on the XLEI, which I believe is their app. That's what it's called, and it'll be live streaming at 4 p.m.
Oh, excellent! Oh, that's cool, and a beautiful story there as well.
Yes,
that was a good one.
So. It always makes me chuckle. It's just like, that's how hardcore gamer I am. Right, over to you, Daz. What have you got next?
Yeah, well, this is a story from the Guardian games section that Beyond Good and Evil 2 might finally be on the way. Now, I love Beyond Good and Evil. I think it was a great game, and there's been speculation, there's been rife about a sequel ever since basically it came out. It came out in 2003, and it's had a fan base clamouring for a sequel ever since. So much so that, you've got gamers that have grown up into gaming without, since it's been released, and probably hitting that sort of adolescent age in the time it's taken for anything to happen with this. There's definitely a demand for it. So the Guardian at E3 got to chat with Yves Guillemot, who's an Ubisoft co-founder. He's one of the Guillemot brothers at Ubisoft who runs the show, and they asked him directly whether Beyond Good and Evil 2 was still in development, because it's been very controversial. There's been stories over the years since 2003 that it's in development, it's not in development. Michel Ancel, who I think I called Michael Ansel the other week in my ignorance. So Michel Ancel has said that he's on the project, that he's off the project. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going on. So anyway, Yves Guillemot, in response to being asked directly whether Beyond Good and Evil was still in development, replied, "I can't say the name, but there is a team working with Michel Ancel on a project that is very interesting." Then they pressed him whether there would be a connection between this new project and Beyond Good and Evil. You'd think there would be, as he mentioned it, as a response to that question. But he said, enigmatically, I'm just adding enigmatically in for just because I can. He said, "It's a game I'm sure you will like very much, and we can't say any more." So from that, the Guardian's saying that, yeah, they reckon that he's hinting at a sequel to Beyond Good and Evil, and to be honest, if he wasn't doing, then what would be the point in making any comment to that question? So that's going to make a lot of people very happy, certainly me. The only worry I've got is capturing and keeping that magic of the original. It's very difficult. So I think you mentioned it with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's going to be... Oh, no, you mentioned it with the Shenmue 3, saying, you've sort of got to keep it in a certain style, and then it's a very stylistic game. Beyond Good and Evil, it's very beautiful. It's a very stylistic game, and what the fans are going to want, though it might not matter, because if they make it good enough, all the Assassin's Creed guys will just go out and buy it anyway, which would be good anyway, because we all want to see this sequel. Is keeping the magic there, keeping that style there, and giving us what we want from the big cliffhanger that Beyond Good and Evil 1 ended with. So that's hopefully good news. I thought that it might get announced at E3, but sadly we heard nothing. But there's a few more events as the year goes by, so maybe it'll come out when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Gamescom coming up very soon, so maybe they're just saving it for that rather than just kind of showing off everything at E3.
Yeah, and I quite like that. Pace themselves, and that we're very lucky because we're seeing a lot of content. I mean, I know a lot of it with Sony. There's a lot of words and promises, but nevertheless, there's content there, and I'm certainly getting the impression that they're listening to the fans and delivering what the majority of us want, and in different areas. It's not just everything that, say, Call of Duty fans want. It's a wide plethora of different games and horses for courses, but of a quality and of a fashion and of a standard that we've all been clamouring for during a kind of slow start to this generation. So yeah, let's see. I'd like to see little news stories like that, because at least it keeps the momentum going, and if it brings some momentum and Ubisoft hear it, then maybe it'll give them some impetus to get a move on with it. I know Michel Ancel has got his own studio now, but I'm sure he would be happy to work on it. I mean, it's a question that I'm sure he gets asked every time he does an interview with anybody. So we will see.
Excellent. No, I do. I bet he gets bugged every single. It's it is the same with kind of what Sony must have had before. When was when are we getting Bird Dog? When is Final Fantasy VII coming out? So they've checked that off. So maybe Ubisoft might follow suit and go, actually, do you know what? We don't have to give a release date. We'll just say that it is coming out and here's some stuff. I mean, they did that a couple of years ago, didn't they? Because they had that magnificent CGI trailer of all the characters from Beyond Good and Evil just in a broken down car on a desert on a desert highway, and that looked fantastic. That was really good.
Yeah, it's unkind, to do that.
Yes, it's unkind to do that and not have a kind of 6 months later it's coming out, or even then, you can play that story in a year's time. It's just teasing for teasing's sake. And speaking of teasing for teasing's sake, at MetroCon at the weekend, Mr. Nolan North seemed to, I don't know whether he had a few beers in him, and he was a little bit loose-lipped, but Nolan North went off-page, he went off-script, and basically one of the things that someone asked him about kind of Last of Us 2, is it coming? And Nolan North said that they're definitely doing, they being Naughty Dog obviously, are definitely doing a Last of Us 2. So he said, I haven't got anything concrete about it, but I've been approached. So there's Nolan North, who played David, I think, in the original Last of Us. He's basically saying that, yeah, I'm doing Uncharted, and also I've been approached for Last of Us 2. So, which was quite an interesting one. It's quite funny because there was another panel in the US at the weekend where Troy Baker, who obviously voiced. Who am I thinking? Who did he voice in Last of Us? It was Ellie and the main character from Last of Us.
I can't remember his Joel. There
you go. Well, so Troy Baker's like, I know nothing about this. No one's told me anything. But then you kind of switch over to the other side of the country. There's Nolan North saying, yep, they're definitely making of it. So make of that what you will. But I thought it was very interesting. And also, at that MetroCon, he also mentioned that Amy Hennig's next project. Now, Amy Hennig, she was the lead on Uncharted. So her next project is going to be a Star Wars game. So she's now at Visceral. And her next game is a Star Wars game, and it's like Uncharted. It's not like that 1313 that we saw. It's like Uncharted. So he basically said, if you're a big fan of Amy Hennig and the style of her story, the next thing she's doing is a brand new Star Wars franchise in the style of Uncharted. So, if you're a Naughty Dog fan, or a Nolan North fan, or just a fan of video games, your mind's just been blown by this one guy kind of talking very open and very candidly about two major projects that could be coming in the next couple of years.
Wow, that's just so much information. He's a loose cannon, isn't he, old Nolan North?
He really is.
He's gone rogue.
It's quite funny because if you kind of follow that side of the gaming industry, Nolan North was the man who voiced everything, and then Troy Baker started to do it as well. And obviously, you have both of them together in Last of Us. Briefly, I don't think they actually kind of have screens like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro of the gaming industry, but you definitely get them in Uncharted 4 as well. But it's quite interesting. So Nolan North is, get a few beers on him and he will tell you anything.
Yeah, man, he's let the cat out of the bag, hasn't he? And that game, that Star Wars game that he alludes to, it sounds just like a dream come true. A Star Wars game that's like Uncharted. Hooray! I wonder if it's going to be the Han Solo simulator that we all want and wait for with bated breath. It could well be. And he also went on the record to say, well, I don't know if he went on the record purposely, but he was going on about, he gave it away that for Uncharted 4, after the dismissal of Amy and her going off to Visceral Games, he sort of said that they had to get rid of 8 months of story and motion capture that they'd done for Uncharted 4 in the wake of that announcement. And he sort of blamed it on the Last of Us team coming in. They were sort of new in to Naughty Dog. And they were taking over for Uncharted 4, and there was some shifting around of staff and what have you. And it was the aftermath of all this was that basically Amy went off to Visceral, and they had to ditch 8 months of her story and a motion capture that had been developed for Uncharted 4. So maybe that was what caused the delay.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, when she did leave, I mean, there's a lot of people that were saying, that's it for Uncharted. They've just lost, they've lost their main storyteller. But it was, and a lot of people are looking at Uncharted 4 to see what that kind of post-Amy world looks like. So it's a very interesting one, and I can't wait for that Star Wars game to be properly announced. Will it be Han Solo, make all of my childhood dreams come true, or will it be Boba Fett and make all of my childhood dreams come true? Or maybe it's Han Solo, but you can buy the Boba Fett skin with the season pass.
yeah, absolutely. That's another game that they can season pass it right up there.
Superb. So yeah, so that was very very interesting. It kind of makes you want to go to these panels, doesn't it, just to kind of see what people, and also you can't say anything because there's always someone there with a smartphone filming you. Straight away it's on Twitter, gets picked up and it's circulated. So I bet Nolan North did get his wrist slapped at the weekend.
Yeah, it's a news story, before he's left the table, the panel. In the comic books convention, the comics and games, they do align quite well, don't they? There's a lot of crossover there, so you're getting these game stars at the comic events and vice versa, and movies as well, So, but yeah, loose lips sink ships.
Indeed. Right, and then right now, this is the interesting one, which was the free games. So there's a whole ton of free games from both Microsoft and PlayStation this month. So Darren, what can we find on Games with Gold?
Okay, yeah, Games with Gold this month. We have got it's a good bunch of games. I think you've got on Xbox One, you've got Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. That's the one with the ship battles and the pirates and stuff. That's a good one.
And probably one of the best Assassin's Creeds for a while as well.
Yeah, I'd put my neck out and say the best one, personally. The first one was a vision, and it had problems. I kind of liked it, but it was very repetitive. Second one, they sort of hit the ground running with that one. That was a good one. 3, I quite liked, but it was sort of like, and by 2, I'd lost track of the story anyway with all this Templar business. I sort of. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go on about that now. But yeah, 4, I really liked. I thought it was great, and I thought introducing the piracy and the high seas was great, and it was a smart move. It was almost a shame if they could have pulled a similar trick out of the bag for Unity and obviously released it in working order. I think they could have carried on with the momentum of keep surprising us with the Assassin's Creed franchise. Instead, it sort of felt like they went back a step, I feel, with Unity, and we'll see what happens with Syndicate. But yeah, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I think probably one of the better ones, if not the best Assassin's Creed games. And there you go, on Next Generation Glory for free with Games with Gold. The first, I think, AAA that they've released. It's the most worthwhile game I've seen them release anyway. Sort of at that standard. I was expecting Rise to be first, to be honest, but they've given Assassin's Creed 4 first, so that's a good one. Another game, more of an indie title, So Many Me. I don't know if you've heard about this. This was released on Steam about a year ago, and it's been a big hit on PC. It's a game where you're a little green blob, and it's a platform puzzler. It looks a bit like cross between maybe Badlands and Lemmings in a way, but it's definitely got its own style. And what you seem to do, I've only had a quick glance at it, is you're a little green sort of blob. It's quite cute, and you can either create clones of yourself or you meet little clones of yourself, and you can then control the clones to help you solve the platforming puzzles, whether it's climbing over a chasm or reaching a high platform or something like that. It looks really charming and cute, and as I say, it's rated really highly and favourably on Steam. So it's not just a piece of litter, it's not vaporware. They're giving us a good game there that's got a good bit of kudos and reputation to it. And you're getting it first on Xbox Live Games with Gold. And
that's from July 16th, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're getting...
Well, today it's live. Just before we went online, I had a quick look at Xbox, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag is there. It's ready to download, so you can download that from the Xbox Dash or from the app as well. So you can just download that and download it straight to your Xbox.
Excellent, it's there. So now they're adopting that sort of the proper way that they do it for 360, where they're doing it on the 1st and the 16th, because that pool game's just been sitting there for ages, hasn't it? Just making me angry. The game, I think that's the quickest I've ever uninstalled a game was that. I did my head in so quickly. So yeah, Assassin's Creed on the 1st, which is great. Yeah, now I forgot it was the 1st of July, and So Many Me on the 16th. I'm going to get both of them, I think, even though I had Assassin's Creed and got rid of it, but I didn't finish it, so I might just get that for a bit of a run around. And while I'm talking about Assassin's Creed, just if anyone's listening and they like a bargain and they wouldn't mind getting hold of Unity, if you go to cdkeys.com, I don't know if you've heard of this site, Anthony, but they sell digital codes for all sorts of things. You can get your Xbox Live membership cheap there and things like that. But they've got Assassin's Creed Unity on for about £9, and you can full digital download. It's all completely legit. So you go onto cdkeys.com. You see the price fluctuates a little bit, so it might have changed a little bit. But for about £9, you can get the full game of Assassin's Creed Unity on Xbox One. If you like them on Facebook, you get 5% off. I'm not trying to plug them. I just think that's a good deal.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah,
that's a really good deal.
So if you because there's loads of fans of Assassin's Creed. I know one of my nephews. He's banging to it. He's just got every game. He just plays them. I'll give myself some credit though. I said, "What's going on with the story?" Then he couldn't answer, but he does enjoy the games, and I don't blame him because they're a good fun runabout game. And then we get to 360. So you get Plants vs Zombies on today, and then on the 16th you get Gears of War 3. Fantastic games.
Fantastic. Both those games are really good games. I think I played the hell out of both of those games when they first came out. So Plants vs Zombies, it actually transitioned quite well. I didn't think it would because it's very kind of touch screen based. So you had to get used to it with a joypad. But once you did, it worked really well.
Yeah, I never got it because I sort of got a bit outraged. I think they were charging like £20 when it was like £3 to buy on iOS, and I rebelled against it for that reason. Similar with that, I was looking at Angry Birds to get for my little boy, and I was trying to sell that for about £30.
Wow! What, when it came out of the Xbox One?
No, yeah.
Yes.
I looked the other day at the weekend. I was like, come on, I'll find a new game. And how about Angry Birds? You've been playing that on the iPad. So I found it. I forget. I think it might be Angry Birds Star Wars. I don't know. I think there's one Angry Birds game on the Xbox One store, and it was like $29.99 or something. It might have even been a little bit higher, and I was just appalled. And I was like, that's ridiculous. We'll just play it on the iPad. But I love Plants vs Zombies, and this isn't the Garden Warfare. This is the proper top-down one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No, it's just that proper tower defense-esque garden flower up.
Fantastic. Well, and this is why I said it before, because when I saw these two games, Plants vs Zombies and Gears of War 3, I just thought, these are games that I wouldn't mind playing again. Well, Plants vs Zombies I just wouldn't mind playing on the big screen because I haven't done. And I thought, I'll be downloading these now in the hope that they'll become backwards compatible. And I'll also now be voting for them on that link that you gave earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And there'll be that, and then also Gears of War 3, I guess, will be on the 16th as well. And that's...
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And like I say, if that becomes backward compatible, I know there's still a couple of achievements I wouldn't mind getting, so that's good fun.
Yeah. So there we go. That's the Xbox cavalcade of games for July, and there's also the PlayStation ones. Do you want to go through those, Anthony?
Yeah, sure. Up on the PlayStation blog, which again I think they will be available on either Tuesday or Wednesday this week.
I'll just interject there because I've got a little news story that PlayStation have announced that the PlayStation Plus offering of free games will now be refreshed on the first Tuesday of every month for Europe instead of us having to wait that extra day.
Oh, excellent stuff. So we're now in line with the US.
Yeah, we are. So you won't have to wait the extra day that we usually do. Tuesday was always the day for North America. And on the blog, they said, hey folks, as of this month, Plus games go live in both EU and US on the first Tuesday of the month, no longer the Wednesday in EU. The first Tuesday in July is the 7th, hence that's why the games aren't coming out this week, is what they said. So there you go. Yeah, they announced that I think a day or so ago, 2 days ago. I think they came out and said that. So we don't need to think when everyone's going mad on the internet saying, "Oh yeah, this great game's out now." We don't have to wait that extra day. We're going to get it at the same time. So fantastic Tuesday for everybody.
Excellent stuff. So coming this Tuesday, then we've got Rocket League on the PlayStation 4. So Rocket League is an arena-based futuristic vehicle sports game that will test your driving and stunting skills like never before. That's what it says on the packet. So that sounds quite interesting. And for something that's free, you can't argue with that. And also, as a PS4 exclusive, they're going to have Sweet Tooth as well will be available as a car, so that'll be quite interesting.
Yeah, I like the look of that. It looks good.
Absolutely, it sounds like good fun, and maybe it's something that we can jump on together.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it says hugely anticipated. I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it. It's been mentioned quite a few times on the Kind of Funny Games podcast. They did a live stream of kind of first hands-on a couple of months ago, and it looked interesting. It looked crazy. It looked like a really good couch co-op game as well.
Yeah, it's like Twisted Metal or something, but better. I'm not really a fan of Twisted Metal. I just think this looks good. This will put me on to that other game, that Turbo Trackmania thing. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then next up we have Entwined, and Entwined is on the PS4 and the PS Vita. So it came out. I think Entwined came out the tail end of last year, and it's a tale of a bird and a fish, but they can kind of never get together, and it tests your kind of reflexes and hand-to-eye coordination. I think you use kind of one stick for the fish and one stick for the bird, and it's got you'll like it because it's very kind of like Flow or Flower, and it's got a really good soundtrack as well. I watched the trailer when they announced them earlier today, and it looked very interesting. I don't think it was interesting enough for me to buy it when it first came out, but it looks very interesting. And then the next one, which I actually was going to buy, but I think something else came out. And it just pushed me away from it. I think it was at the very start of this generation, and that's Styx, the Master of the Shadows. Now this kind of reminds me a bit of Batman, a bit of Shadows of Mordor, a bit of Thief, kind of all put in, where you play an orc, and it's also got some clever RPG elements as well. So that's definitely one to kind of download and have a play, and it's quite nice because we're now seeing all of these games that are coming out on the PlayStation Network. These are all kind of PS4 games, similar to the Xbox One's offerings. We are just getting kind of some next-gen titles from both companies. So next up on the PS4, PS3 and also PS Vita is Mousecraft. I know absolutely nothing about this, but it's an epic tale of a crazy cat scientist who's striving to unlock the potential of the mysterious mouse-powered machine. If that doesn't get you interested, then nothing will.
Sounds amazing. Where do I sign?
Yeah, exactly. The great thing about this is it's going to be available on the Vita as well. So, whenever there's these cross-play titles, so already we've got Entwined, we've got Mousecraft. It looks fantastic. So it's worth a play on the train. So that's
It's a good job they've moved them to the. It's a good job that the first Tuesday isn't this week, because I wouldn't be around for the podcast in light of Mousecraft. I can tell you that.
Exactly, you're right.
I wouldn't be here. There'd just be dust. There'd just be a microphone swinging in the wind, and I'd be there.
I'd just be talking to myself, tapping the table every now and then, go, well, anyway. And then next up is Rain on the PS3. Now, cool, that really did intrigue me when it came out, because it looked fantastic. It was kind of this kind of a boy's chasing a girl, but the silhouette's only visible when it rains. It looked stunning. But again, it was kind of on the PS3 when I was transitioning to PS4, and I was just waiting for it to come out. It's still only on PS3, but that's available for free for anyone with a PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, I remember Rain. It was a bit of an E3 showstopper. I remember showing it, and it was a bit of a jaw dropper. I was like, oh, wow, look at this. This looks really cool. But I seem to remember it got mediocre reviews, so I didn't jump on board. But how fantastic that you can get on board on PS3 and play it now.
Absolutely. It's quite funny, because when you do see these games that may be visually stunning, they get kind of a middle-of-the-road review. In the back of your head, you do just kind of think, I'll wait until it comes out on the PlayStation Network, for free. And you do kind of always park it and go, when it comes out for free, I'll play it on there. It's an interesting one.
It is. I always kick myself if I've already bought a game and it comes out free, and I've hovered my finger over that button to buy before, and I've been like, yeah, but, and I've retracted and gone, it's going to come out. That's a prime candidate. I'm going to wait. And it's happened with a few games, but I suppose it just depends on your patience versus wallet threshold.
Absolutely. And then the last one, and I probably have to apologise to anyone on my train in the mornings, because I'm going to be playing a lot of this, is Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions is coming to PS Vita. So after it's launched already on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, they're now bringing it to PS Vita. So I haven't played it on either one of those. This is just the perfect game for the Vita. Sit there, listen to that soundtrack. My journeys to work are just going to disappear, because this would be fantastic. But I probably will be swearing a bit while I was playing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic game. Brilliant place to launch it on the Vita. Perfect game for the commute, definitely.
Absolutely, and then that's it. So that's kind of July. So really, for the Xbox One games with Gold and the PlayStation Network, there's some really good games there. There's some money's worth on both platforms, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, a quick tot up there. You've got 6 games for the new gen. and potentially 8 if you include the 360 that'll come onto backwards compatibility sooner or later. But yeah, you know, two games on the 360 with Assassin's Creed and that platform puzzler, So Many Me, and then 4 games on PS4. I must say PS4 very generous. PSN is very generous.
Yeah, I mean, it's worthwhile noting at the bottom of that article that was on the PlayStation blog that if you haven't already, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes is leaving PS Plus on the 7th of July. So if you haven't already downloaded it, you've got, 6 days to go before it's taken away.
Yeah, and even if you're not going to play it now and your hard drive's full, just partially get it. It's just click purchase and then cancel it, and at least you can get it another time.
Absolutely, that's all you need to do. You can even go to the PlayStation app, which is on iPhone, iPad, Android, and you can go on there and you can just hit buy, and then that's it. You know, that kind of locks it in. You've purchased that title, so do that now before it's gone for good.
Yeah, I remember I was reading some interview with someone or other from Sony, and they said that they were looking at sort of an option to just say download everything from PS Plus when it becomes available, you know, instead of having to wait and then go on and do it. And it makes sense, but I mean, that was a long time ago and they've never done it, but that's a feature I'd like to see. I'd just check a box and it'd say, when PS Plus content comes available, just blanket, get it all, and then I'll just delete it afterwards if I don't want it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd rather that. I'd rather just kind of download, like say download, and then you kind of review it. No, I don't like that, and you just get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay, so our final piece of news is from your good self.
It is. Well, the final piece of news is just a link that I'm going to put on our webpage on gamersoflostspark.com for this show, and it is a link to Major Nelson's site, so Major Nelson over on Xbox One, and what they've done is they have linked trailers to all of the upcoming ID and Xbox games. So there is something like 101 trailers from all of those indie titles that are going to be shown. So you've got things like Bacon Man, you've got Beyond Eyes, you know, you've got just a whole load of good stuff, and they put all of the trailers for all of these indie titles all together, one page. So what I'll do is I'll stick the note in our podcast page so you can just get to that. But I thought that was really cool, a nice kind of handy way, similar to what we did for our E3 coverage. We put links to all of the good games, all of the trailers for all the good games. So I kind of think Major Nelson might be copying Lost Spark.
I think he's got his eye on us. I
think he has. I think we need to have a word with Larry. So and on that litigious note, is it litigious note? That's about it for this episode. So all that remains to say, again, is a big thanks for listening. We do appreciate you kind of downloading and listening to the podcast. And if you want to hear or find out more about us, you can go to gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Lost Spark Pod, and we're now, for the first time, this episode will be the first one, we're now on YouTube as well, so you can find us on YouTube with all the cool kids. Darren, where can we find you online when you're gaming?
You can find me with the gamer tag Wythamator, that's on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch, Dazza Gamer on YouTube, and Daz Whittam at Daz Whittam on Twitter, and also you can see all these links and what we do and things on the About Us page on the website.
And for me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That email address is feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Keep an eye on our Twitter, which is Lost Spark Pod, for more updates and information, and also upcoming episodes. You can also subscribe to iTunes and have them delivered as soon as they're available. If you're feeling generous, please leave us a rating on iTunes. That would be fantastic. And also, like I say, if you have any feedback, please drop us a line. So that's it for this week. So we'll talk to you again next week. Catch you later.
See you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
I'm so hot. I'm a wet mess.